quick introduction. Today's event is just a review session, right? The year is ending, or the year has almost even ended. And a lot of us it's time where you reflect on how you've performed throughout the year. What have you done? What have you not done? How do you want to improve? So a lot of people are retrospecting, right? And one of the ways that I like to encourage people to retrospect is in the area of their finances. Naturally, I'm a finance person, so definitely that has to, like, should I say, take priority? One of the priorities, yeah. So I wanted to host this session primarily for my community members. I'm hoping more of them will join. I have like a finance community on WhatsApp where I share finance content every now and then. So I wanted to host this session so we can, as a group, just learn how to conduct a very detailed end of the year financial review, personal financial review. So we are going to reflect, we are going to reset, and we are going to plan for next year. So that's just a summary of what today's session is going to be about. I created a checklist that will serve like a guide. It's just a checklist document, a PDF that would guide you. So if you want to look back at this document when we are done, you can always reach out to me or send an email and I would share it with you. So I wanted to use this as a guide to just walk us through how I personally do my end of the year money review. I've already done that with my husband, like for our own family, right? So I wanted to share this with my community. We'll be doing a thorough review of our 2024 financials. We'll do make a plan for next year, financial plan for next year, setting goals, setting out your savings goals, making a plan for investing, right? That's why I've brought on board a personal finance expert to just give us like a beginner baby steps, overview of what to do if you want to learn about investing or you want to start investing as a newbie. Then I'm going to share some tools that can help you in this journey, and also I'll share like some tips and things you should look out for that I think are very important. Little habits, right? My name is Gloria Eteton. I run the brand called Plan with Gloria. I work, my 9 to 5 is marketing communications, right? But on the side, I really enjoy teaching people about finance, right? Personal finance management, things like creating a budget that works for you, saving up for your goals, and just basically managing your money in a way that you're able to enjoy life, right? Irrespective of your income level. So that's just a quick about me. We'll just go straight to sharing, walking through the checklist. So the first thing when making my doing your end of the year financial review is to figure out how much your total income was in that year, right? So basically from January till today, how much have you made? It's easier for salary earners because you know that your salary is just your salary. You multiply that by the number of months that they paid you, right? So, or if you have any other source of income, maybe like you did like some side gigs, you did something on the side that gave you money, you want to also take note of that. So for those who currently use the Moolah budget template or our physical budget plan, I don't have a copy, I would have just showed it to you. It would be very easy because from January, I expect that you've been tracking, and the Moolah budget template actually shows you an automatic calculation of what your total income for the year is, right? So that's the benefit of using the digital version of that template. As you record your income every month, by the end of the year, you just go to your dashboard, you can see like a rundown of how much you made in the year. And you would be surprised because some of us feel like we don't have money, but you'll be surprised how much money is coming, cash flow. It may not be that the money is there for you to keep, but how much cash flow is coming into your accounts that is like your income, right? So if you do not have a budget planner, for those who are not currently using any budgeting system, one way you know how you make money, right? If you have to download your bank statements for people that use GTB, for instance, I have a GTB account. The good thing with GTB, for instance, I don't know how other banks operate, is that If you want to download your statement, you can download it in an Excel format, not PDF, in like a spreadsheet format. So that way you can easily calculate your credit alerts, calculate your debits. So I don't know how other banks work, but first of all, you need to try and figure out how much did you make in this current year. Then ask yourself, did your income increase? Did it reduce? Did it stay the same compared to last year, which was 2023? So basically, you want to see if there is any progress. Did you make more money, or did your income drop? Maybe you lost your job and you got another job that was not paying you well. It just helps you really realize where you are financially, because to tell you the truth, right, you cannot make changes if you don't know what your true reality is, right? So you don't want to just live on vibes or assumptions. You want to be very sure of what exactly is coming in, how you are faring. Because if let's say last year you made more money than this year, it would be like a wake-up call to you that look, you need to find a way to just, increase your income sources. So it's not for you to feel bad. It's really just for you to know your true situation. And then the next step, right, is to check, were there any unexpected sources of income that came in? I mean, some of us, like me, I'm a 9 to 5er, right? My primary income source is my salary, right? Even though I do like this plan with Gloria thing right now, it's not like a major source of income. It's more like a passion project where I'm like helping people, do better with their finances, right? So primarily my source of income is my salary, right? And when it comes to paying bonuses, well, I mean, it's up to the employer to pay or not pay. So you cannot say for certain that you get your bonus, or you can't say for certain how much you're going to get. So those are the kind of things you reflect on. Okay, maybe you started a side hustle. Like me, I started selling a physical product, budget planner. So I've had to like sit back and look at how much I've made from selling this budget plan. Have I made any profit at all? So that's the last thing in the income review section. Then we go to the next section, still reviewing your this year's finances, your expense. What were your top 3 spending categories? Again, if you were using like the Moolah budget template or any other budget planner template at all, it doesn't have to be the PWG budget template. You would have been recording your expense categories. So by going through it, you will know where you were spending the most money. For us, it was a moment of truth, because some days ago I sat down with my husband and we looked at our finances, right? And we were able to tell, okay, wow, we spent this amount here and we spent less here. So it just helps you know, because you could be assuming that you're spending a lot of money on, let's say, feeding, but you realize that you're spending more on transportation. So it helps you, that knowledge will help you plan your budget for the next year, make your budget more realistic, more close to reality. It's going to be more stressful if you're assuming the numbers. You are just assuming, okay, I earn this amount, I'll just dump this for transportation, or you just spend randomly. It will help you plan. So if you use a Moolah budget template, again, I say, it's going to make it very easy because it's automated. It does the calculation automatically for you. You just go to your dashboard, and I have a video somewhere on my YouTube channel that shows what that dashboard looks like. You'll be able to see like a chart that shows the highest places you spent money on. Was it transportation? Was it black tax, like your family? Was it church, like tithe, kingdom support, and things like that? Was it feeding? Was it transportation? You just see the charts. So you can tell where you spent the least amount of money and where you spent the most amount of money. Then, okay, so like I also said before, if you do not have a budget system, right, just download your bank account. It's going to be more stressful, warning, but download your bank account statement, right, and try to track your debits. Personally, when I'm making transfers or any online transactions, I like to use descriptions so that I can always tell, okay, this 30,000 naira debit, what was it meant for? Who did I send it to and why? You don't want to see a debit alert and you're not sure what that debit alert means. So the next thing in your expense analysis, right, is to check if there's any surprising elements in your expenses, right? A lot of us, I mean, I think almost everybody would have an unplanned purchase. That's why we like to put miscellaneous in our budget, right? So there are things that would come up. For instance, nobody plans for ill health. And if you don't have HMO, sometimes you may have HMO and the HMO doesn't cover everything. So you have to still spend money, right? On your health, buying medication or treating treatment, or maybe there is an emergency in the family that you did not plan for and you have to help out, or just an emergency in your house, maybe your car, things come up that you did not plan for in your budget, right? So you want to review how your expenses were so that you can spot, are there any repetitive things that kept coming up as emergencies? Because if it comes up as an emergency like more than once, it means that there is a pattern and you should probably be planning for it in your budget, right? So that it doesn't take you unawares. I'm going to talk about creating an emergency fund. So you want to check, is there anything I actually spent on that was never in my plan for the year? Then suddenly, out of the blues, you had to spend on that thing. The next item you want to check under your expense analysis is what percentage of your income went to your essentials, to your wants, to your savings, or to investing, because you don't want to look at your income as just a total income. At the end of the day, the money is going somewhere, right? You can't just say, oh, I earned 100K, I spent 100K. You want to say, I earned 100K, I spent 50K on needs, essential things like feeding, transportation, house rent, health. Those are very essential things that you cannot do without. Or I spent 20K on my wants, like maybe buying, going shopping, buying this, buying that, enjoying life. And I saved 30%, that kind of thing. So, like, again, if you are using the Moolah budget templates, all of this information will be like automatically calculated for you, no stress. Because as you are tracking your spending every day, every week, every month, there's a summary table that does all that calculation for you and makes life very easy. So that's for reviewing your expense. Again, if you have questions, please use the Q&A feature. Okay, thanks, Linda. Thanks, Udonna. Thanks, Mr. Me. Next, we are going to be reviewing our savings and investments, right? And this is where you should feel bad if you did not save. At least, I'm not going to say invest because a lot of us are new to it. But no matter how bad or how the expenses were choking, you want to try and save something for the rainy day. So in 2024, how much did you save, right? If you have like a budget template, or even if you don't have budget template, in fact, check your bank account, right? Or where you normally save your money. If there's no money inside it, that means you did not save, right? Or if you have savings, you will know. So this one, you don't even need to open bank statements. Or sometimes it happens that you saved, but something came up and you had to spend the money, right? So those are things you want to note. Okay, what are these things that keep coming up and spoiling my spending, or sorry, my savings plans, right? So the next thing you want to see is and again, if you're using the Moolah budget template, right, the dashboard shows you um your savings versus your income. So basically, you earned 100,000 naira. Did you save up to half of it, like 50%, or did you save 100%? It's not possible, Sha. Or did you save 20%? It would just give you like a very good breakdown, like a chart would just show you, okay, this is how much you made, this is how much you saved. And yeah, the next thing is if you did not save anything right, identify the things that held you back. Is it that you started saving and something came up unplanned and you spent the money on that thing, right? Or is it that maybe someone fell ill or you fell ill or you lost your job and you had to rely on your previous income so you couldn't save? It's not always the case that it's your choice to not save or you are doing it on purpose. Like, see, life happens. It happens to the best of us, right? God forbid someone is sick. You know how sickness can drain. So, but the point is not to beat yourself up, right? You want to just reflect so that you can highlight, okay, if it was maybe there is someone in the family that needs constant health care, maybe you want to be more proactive and actively save money towards that support. Or you have siblings, or some people are like firstborn, first son, first daughter, and maybe they have to like support maybe their parents and also support their siblings. It's a lot of responsibility, and maybe you now have your own family, so you want to intentionally now create a black tax budget, based on what you can afford, right? Because if you can't afford it, honestly, you should not come and kill yourself, right? So the next thing to look at is what savings habits worked best for you this year. For instance, I like to encourage people to do automatic savings. If you use most of these fintech apps or even banks, you know how you leave like an instruction such that you set it up such that once maybe your salary comes in on a specific day of the month, the money is literally hijacked from your account, right? And you are saving by force, whether you like it or not, right? So, did you do automatic savings? Did you join a savings challenge? Did you use sinking funds? I've talked a lot about savings challenge and sinking funds. Savings, I had one savings challenge last year, and I recently started another one for this year. And I know a lot of people that were able to save something, right? Even if they did not meet, some people met their savings goal, some did not. But the idea of just building that discipline, making it become a normal thing, like a habit, right? So, what are the things you did that helped you financially? And just as you're identifying the things that held you back, also identify the good things that you did that helped you reach your savings goals so that you can repeat them or even do it better in the new year, right? Did you use sinking funds? By sinking funds, like savings buckets, did you separate your savings in a way that you're not mixing everything up in one account? That's a good habit. So you want to repeat it. The next thing to do in this review section for savings and investments is, did you make any investments? If yes, what did you invest in and how much, right? I know that the first step is to save, but you don't stop there. It's a reason I've invited Oluchukwu. She's going to come up at some point to talk to us about investing. Talk to us like we don't know anything about investing. Just, okay, what is this investing thing? How do we start? How do we do it? So if you save, right, beyond saving for goals, you want to also save and use that savings as your as a startup point to like invest, right? So because if you want to invest, you need money. I don't want to just carry money random, maybe your house rent or your feeding money. You want to save up, and then when you have maybe an amount that you need, or you use it to open an investment account or start investing, right, in any opportunity that comes up that is legit. So you want to review. Did you do any investments last year? Or sorry, this year? I'm already in 2025. You didn't invest money anywhere. And did you lose your money? Right? Did you fall into the wrong hands? Did you invest in the Ponzi scheme by error? Did you put money in something very risky that promised high returns and you ended up losing your money? You want to be honest with yourself, because if there is maybe there are places you put your money in and it turned out that it was not legit, you want to blacklist it and run away from it. You understand? Or anything that looks like it. So if you invested, how much were you able to invest? So this is the time where you check your investments, right? Okay, how is it faring? And normally, I'm not saying you should wait till end of the year to check your investments, right? You should be checking it if you where your money. Even the Bible says it, where your money is, that's where your heart is going to be. Where your how does it put it? But something like that. You should be checking it maybe every month or every 2 weeks. However, it works best for you, but you should be checking it because you don't want to just drop money somewhere and forget about it, right? So, how much did you invest, and how is the investment doing? Is it even earning any decent interest, or are you losing money, right? So, the next section of review we want to do is checking in on your debts. I mean, life happens, and sometimes, especially when emergencies come up and you don't have like a savings to fall back on, you have to maybe take a loan or ask for help, and maybe you have to pay back with interest or not. So you want to sit back and take a good account of how much debt you were in 2024 and how much you were able to pay off. Is there anything remaining that you have to carry over to 2025? The reason is that if you have anything to carry over to next year, that should be one of your goals for next year, paying off the debt. Because once you pay it off, at least you'll be free to like save up for things that matter to you. You don't want to earn income just to use it to service debt, right? So it's important to just have like a check-in and be honest with yourself. Okay, what's remaining? What do I have to pay off? And it's also the reason for the updated Mula budget templates that I'm currently working on. We are currently working on. We've added like a tab where there's a sheet where you can track any debt that you are trying to pay off, because it's you'll be able to like just keep track and know, okay, this is how much I've paid so far, this is how much is remaining. Then overall reflection for reviewing last year. Ask yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your 2024 finances, right? Did you do well? You could rate yourself 1 over 10, 2 over 10, 3 over 10, depending on how, maybe let's say if it would be easier if maybe you had goals. So you can rate yourself, okay, I had 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 goals. Okay, I was able to meet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Your goal could have been that, okay, you want to stay out of debt, for instance. So you just rate yourself, okay, I tried. Okay, 5 over 10. Just be honest with yourself. It would help you know how much improvement you need to do. It's really just a personal rating. There is nobody's going to rate you. It's just to help you know, okay, you have a long way to go or you have a lot of improvements to make, right? So the next thing to ask yourself is, if you could change one financial habit from this year, what would it be? Some of us, it could be not tracking our expenses every day, right? Or not tracking it frequently. Because when you track it, it helps you know how you are faring financially versus what you can actually afford. Because we could be spending money and not realizing that we are running out of money, right? When you're not tracking or budgeting, right? So another habit maybe you may want to change is not even budgeting. Some people said that they've not been, using budgets before now. So that's something you may want to consider, that okay, I want to start using a monthly budget. And I will talk about monthly budgeting. It's not that it's going to make your life difficult. Nope. It just makes you plan for your spending. Plan it in a way that you're spending on things that are important to you. You're not spending randomly. So the last question to ask yourself as you reflect is, what is the most important financial lesson that you learned in 2024? This is personal to you. Something could have happened that taught you a lesson that, going forward, I definitely need to have an emergency fund, because these things could happen and you'd be stranded, right? So what did something happen that really made you feel like, okay, I should be better prepared for next year? The next step in this checklist is to make a financial plan for next year. This is the part I really, really like, right? Because I like to plan. So I've simplified it by making it a checklist as well. So you just follow these steps one after the other. The first thing we are going to look at is setting your financial goals. I've already talked about certain things. For instance, if you have any debts that you want to pay off, that should be one of your goals for next year, so that you can pay it off and have your peace of mind, right? So what are your top 3 financial priorities for 2025? At this point, I want you to write it down. I know I said come with your biro, come with your notepad, come with your budget planner. So please, you could actually even use your phone, scribble something down, right? That you can look at later. What are your top 3 financial priorities for 2025? And if you want to even like drop it in the chat, I know that finances can be very personal and some of us may not want to share certain things, but if there's anything you want to share, if you want to share anyone that you feel is okay to share, feel free to drop it in the chat. What are your top 3 financial priorities for next year? For example, and you have to make the goal smart. Don't just say, oh, I want to buy a car. Make it specific, right? Make it measurable, make it achievable, relevant, time bound, all the yada yada about smart budget and smart goal setting. So for example, if you want to buy a car, you could say, oh, I will save so amount of money to buy a car by December 2025. So that way you already know how much you need for the car. That means you did your findings. You know when you want to save that, when you want to buy that car. There's a timeline. So you are going to use that timeline with the amount, determine how much you have to save aggressively every month for 1 year to buy that car, if your timeline is 1 year. You could also say, I will save 500,000 naira for my emergency fund by July 2025. So that means you have roughly 6 months or 7 months to save up 500,000 naira. And if you divide, let's see, if you divide, counting from, let's say, your January income, right? If you divide 500,000 naira by 7 months, that means you have to save at least 71,000 naira every month from January 2025, so that you can reach that emergency fund goal by July 2025. So that's just an example. So what are the top things you want to do? Some of us, maybe your family is expanding, you're expecting a child, or you are sending your children at beginning school, things like that. Okay, you want to be able to like maybe pay their school fees in time, you know, and include the specific amounts that you need for these different things. You want to pay up this date. You want to save up to buy a new phone, to buy a car. I like to plan for everything, right? I don't want to just take out, even I want to change my phone, right? I wouldn't advise just taking out money randomly and paying for it because where we come from, right? Every money is meant for something. There is no money that is just there, right? So it's easier to say, okay, in the next 6 months, I want to change my phone. I want to buy this. I want to invest in my business. So you start saving every month towards it. Honestly, your goal could even be to pay your rent with ease. That means if your rent is due, let's say by September, you have from January to September to save up every month. So just set at least 3 goals. Don't try to set too many goals to avoid getting overwhelmed. Then ask yourself, what major expenses are you saving for in 2025? This is still in relation to your goal, right? Because your goal could be that you want to save up and go on a vacation, on a girls' trip. You want to buy a car, you want to pay for a house, you want to buy a home, you want to buy a land, right? So think of the most important 3 things you want to prioritize. Those are the things you'll be saving for. So the next thing we are going to look at in planning for next year is creating a budget. You want to list out your income sources first of all. Okay, I do have, now we have more people in session. I have another quick interesting poll. Well, I dare say interesting, that I want to share. Um, let's see. So I'm launching the poll. It's going to pop up on your screen. Just pick either yes or no. Do you have a budget prepared for 2025? I think you will check the top or bottom. It should just show up on your screen if your Zoom app is updated. Do you have, and no judgments here. I mean, that's why we are here, right? We are here to get ourselves to work. So do you have a budget prepared for next year? And by budget for next year, it's not like federal government's budget, right? It's not a 1 year budget. It's like 1 month's budget, because in my family, right, we use 1 month's budget. After once the month is over, we just edit it, like clean it out and use it for the next month. If we need to make any adjustments, we make adjustments. So it's not like you're creating a new budget every month. It's the same budget, maybe with minor adjustments. Okay, so 73% people, well, 8 people said no, not yet. 3 people said yes. So well done to the 3 people that have actually sorted out their budget. And so those who have not yet done it, I'm believing that this event is going to like put fire under you to create your budget once we are done, right? So I'm going to end the poll and quickly just share the results on the screen so you see what we have there. All right, so the first thing in creating a budget, right? The first thing is to list your income sources and total monthly earnings, right? I have a video on my channel talking about specifically about how to create a monthly budget. So we've already talked about income, right? You want to know how much you earn every month because it is on that basis that you are going to create a monthly budget. You want to now group and list your expense categories, right? We all spend on food, on rent, on bills and utilities, right? That's like light bill, water bill, airtime, data, things like that, laundry, you want to then allocate money for each of these categories. So if you earn, let's say 100,000 naira, out of this 100,000 naira monthly, how much can you allocate for food? Because there are 2 things involved, right? One thing is that you have an amount that limits you. You have to work within this amount because that's what you can afford. The other thing is that even though this is what you can afford, you need more than this. So that is when you realize that, okay, maybe you need to look for a better source of income or more sources of income so you can increase your monthly earnings, right? So you want to now allocate money to each of these spending categories. I've actually created, let me share. I created something that can help with that. So there is something called the 50-30-20 budgeting principle. I created a very straightforward sample budget, right? Using that budget principle to help people create a monthly budget. So I'm going to share the link to that document in the chat. So you can just click on it and download it later. I'm also going to send it in an email to those who have attended, or if you need it, you can just send an email to me. Yeah. All right. So if you look at that document, I've done just an example of how you can create a budget, right? So basically 50% should go, is like a base rule, it's not set on stone, right? 50% should go to your needs, 30% to your wants, and 20% to your savings, right? But if you can afford to save more, by all means do so. So the next thing to do is to allocate monthly savings amount for your 2024 financial goals, right? Because it's not just enough to budget and allocate money for food, rent, transportation, and all those regular expense categories. Remember that you've already set a goal for the new year, that maybe you want to pay off debt, you want to buy a car, you want to buy a land, you want to save up for your emergency fund. So in your budget, what I advise is that you put like an expense amount that you're going to take out from your monthly income to put it in the account where you are saving up for whatever goal you want to save up for. So if you want to target saving up for emergency funds or to save up money so you can invest, you want to indicate in your budget, right? And it's easier when you work with a budget template because all of these things are already like listed out, right? But you don't need a budget template to be able to do it. You can just do it on a notebook and pen on your phone. But as you are creating a budget amount for food, for transportation, you want to also create a budget amount. Okay, if your yearly rent is, let's say, 1 million naira, you want to divide that by 12 months and create that budget for that amount. Every month you are saving it, every month you are saving it, right? Then the last thing you want to do in your budget is to track your spending every day on the budget template, so that you can monitor your progress, because it's one thing to budget 50K for feeding, but by the end of the month, you've spent 80K on feeding. When you track your daily expense, you would easily spot such changes to help you, okay, adjust, to help you realize that maybe you need to maybe spend less on food or increase your food budget. So now we are going to go into the investing section of it so that we can quickly go into Q&A. And I'm introducing Oluchukwu Chiadika. She's a visionary behind Your Personal Finance Girl. As a founder of Your Personal Finance Girl, Oluchukwu has dedicated herself to providing a transformative educational platform centered on personal finance. With over 7 years of immersive learning and teaching experience in this field, she has consistently catalyzed impactful change in the lives of those she has coached. I would like to bring her on board, but please pardon us. She's in transit and may not be able to turn on her video. So I don't know, Oluchukwu, are you in the chat? Are you in the Zoom room? Can you hear me? Can you say
Can you hear me?
Oh yes, I can hear you. Let me stop sharing
Hello.
that.
Oh,
Yes.
praise God. Because I've been battling with network coming in and out of the call. So
Oh,
I
can
just got a
imagine.
more stable internet now.
Okay.
So I want to confirm that you can hear me. Please use the chat. Just put some fire emojis in the chat if you can hear me. I know that Gloria can hear me, but I want to be sure that every other person can hear me.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much for that warm introduction. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So yeah, my work is very simple here today. I'm supposed to talk about how we can make more money without actually doing a lot of work, right? So it's the concept of, or rather, I'm going to talk about investing. How many of us here are acquainted or know about investing or have heard the word investing before? I see plenty fire here. Oh. People do not come to play in this session. You came prepared. So yes, please, have we heard about investing before? Love to hear. I've heard about investing. Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Alma. Yeah, so basically, investing is a very, very straight to the point concept, because the idea of you investing or the idea of anybody or why anybody should invest, that you want your money to go somewhere. When it goes to that place, it's going to bring more money for you. That's just simple. So you know these other plenty big English that they used to speak when they talk about investing. You hear commercial papers, you hear treasury bills, you hear bonds, you hear stocks, you hear cryptocurrency, you hear forex. The idea, like the primary goal or the primary reason why all of these things happen is just so some amount of money that you set aside will go and bring you more money. That's just it. There's no other there's no other reason to invest or why you should be investing, right? So I'm just going to try and walk through a couple of these or a couple of things that you should know or how you can set yourself up for success when it comes to investing. Because today's session has been really like, I've been popping in and out like from the beginning. And it's very, very easy for you to infuse, oh, how can my money make more money without me doing a lot of work. And the first thing you have to start from, or the first place you will start from when it comes to investing, is understanding yourself. And how do you understand yourself? By the time you go through your expenses, what have I spent my money on? By the time you go through things like, what are things that are most important to me? Guess what? You're already putting the foundation or the building blocks for you to have a successful investing tenure. Because one thing is very certain, when you understand yourself, when you know what you like, when you know what takes your money, when you know, okay, this is how I act, like, okay, let me use an example. So typically, I always say this, that it is when I am broke, like when I'm out of cash, that is when I spend money recklessly. Because I'm trying to be like, okay, I could do not have the money now. Why am I managing the small one that is remaining? I've looked at it. The money is not going to be enough. Well, I can as well spend it. When I figured out that that was the kind of person I was, when I noticed the pattern that as soon as I'm running out of cash, I would just end up just, oh yeah, now let's people empty the account. What that did for me was I now learned how to ensure that I never run out of cash. I learned how to ensure that I don't get to that point where I feel so financially strained and I no longer care, right? So once you understand yourself, you're already ticking the boxes to doing better with your money, being able to keep your money in the right place, being able to ensure that that money goes ahead and brings you more money, right? So, oh, my name is Billionaire Squad. Let me change it as I'm here again. So you see, your personal finance girl is already building billions. You are there. How am I doing it? I'm investing. So I understand that, oh, this is how I behave when I'm spending money. I understand that this is what I do when I'm broke or when I have a lot of money. And I know that in this life, I want to live a soft life. I don't want to get to points where I'm old and I will be actively working. So personally, for me, what breaks my heart, a very funny thing that breaks my heart is I genuinely do not like to see when old people are working. When I see those cleaners, those gatesmen, those electricians, like they are very old, they're in their 60s, and then they are still hustling and bustling. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, oh my God, what did these people do with their youth? Life happened to them. How were they not able to fight back when life was happening to them? And this is why we have conversations like this. Because when you know that this is what you do with your money, you're like, okay, it's time for me to take control and then send my money to work. So in the next 10, 20, 30 years, I don't have to actively work for me to earn. So what do you do next? Do you understand yourself? The next thing you want to do is you want to understand your risk appetite. While you're understanding your risk appetite, which is like easy, very easy to know, you can actually just do a test online. You can actually just ask yourself a few questions. You don't mind if all of the money you put finishes, or rather, um what's the word? You don't mind if all of the money that you put somewhere goes to zero. But if that money has the probability of giving you 100%, 1,000%, you don't mind. If you're someone who would look at yourself and you're like, oh, I don't want my money to lose, though. I want my money to be intact. I just want small thing to be on top. You already know that you're in another different category. Because the person that does not mind getting to zero because they have a probability of getting 100% or 1,000%, both of you are not on the same level. The person who just wants just a little more, I don't mind though. If the money reduces small, as long as it doesn't get to zero, I'm okay. Then there's another set of people who are like, please leave my money as it is. I don't want one kobo to lose from it. I don't want 1 naira, 1 cent to lose from it. I just want to ensure that at the end of the day, I still retain the value of my money. You see these three categories. Do you know where you fall into? Do you know what bracket you fall into? So are you someone that if you lose 100% of your money, there's a problem? But for you to lose 100%, you don't mind getting 100% extra or 1,000% extra, but you know that there's a caveat that you can lose all the money. I'm waiting for your responses in the chat. The second bracket of people, oh, I don't want to lose all of my money, but I still want to earn a bit more. There's another bracket. I do not want to lose my money at all, at all. I don't want one kobo to fall out of my money. I want to be seeing it as it is. In fact, if you leave me alone, I'll be leaving it in my bank account. What category do you fall into? While I'm waiting for your responses, I'm going to go to the next part, which is education. Education, education, education. I say education. Education sounds boring, but knowledge, investing in you getting better. So this is a very brilliant conversation to be having just before the end of the year, so that you're like, okay, I know what I did with my money last year. This is what I want to do this year. Then you will not add the part of, you see those things I did not know before. Can I know them now? Things like, what is a stock? How can I make money from a stock? How does that thing even work? What does it even mean? See, if you can ask the minutest type of questions, guess what? You're on the right track to making millions, billions in return on investment. So I made a post on my page. I'm sure sorry. I made a post on my page about how I made money from different sources of income. And it was not just my 9 to 5 I made money from. It was not just my business I made money from. I made money from capital gain. This means that when I started investing, because I invested for a while, the value of my investment went up. So the stock that I probably bought $10 is now $15. The stock that I bought $10 is now $11. Guess what? I made $1 free money. I did not do anything. The only thing that I did was I ensured that I invested that money. I ensured that I removed it from my bank account and I put it in something that I clearly understood. Then there's dividends. When people invest, companies can decide that, thank you for believing in our vision. No, this is what we are going to do. You see, after we have made our money, we have paid all of our bills, we paid all of our staff, we're going to now share this money between you, a believer in us, you, a shareholder that decided that you're going to put your own hard-earned money into our business for our business to grow. I made money via dividends, right? Capital gain, dividend, these are like the sweetest ways for anybody at all. I mean, anybody to make money when it comes to investing. So how exactly do I now make money in investing? I want to understand, or I need to understand the different investment vehicles, the different asset classes, the different investment types that are available in the world. So you can look for things that are tangible, things that you can see, things that you can touch. Those things are, you see examples of this in real estate, in commodities. You see examples of in things of this in precious metal. So real estate, we're talking about land, though. We're talking about housing. We're talking about rental property. If we say we want to talk about commodity, we're talking about oil, we're talking about those countries trade, things like what they call it, barley, oil, yeah. So we're talking about precious metals, things like gold, silver, things that are traded that are in the stock market, right? So these are things that we can see. You can invest in them. But you can also invest in things that you cannot see. Things like stocks, things like mutual funds, things like other financial instruments. You're looking at things like what am I forgetting? Different names. So stocks, bond, cryptocurrency, FX, like there are so many things that you cannot see, but have value and can make you more money, right? So when you understand, like for you to start investing, I would always say that please and please try to understand what you are putting your money into, because you can also invest in business, right? Now, let me tell you a quick story as to why it's very important for you to understand what you're investing in. In 2016, when I started my investing journey, 2015, 2016, when I started my investing journey, and I'm like, as a good girl, I know how to save. I was earning money. I was earning money from my 9 to 5. I was earning money from my various businesses. I'm a big girl now. I saved a lot of money. It was time for me to invest. I did not ask questions, not do my due diligence. There's a company that said they were doing XYZ business. In the XYZ business, I was going to earn XYZ interest rate. After earning interest rate, I'm going to get like this amount of money back. I genuinely, till now, I genuinely did not understand the business. I genuinely did not know that it was high risk. I genuinely did not do my due diligence. Somebody to tell me how that story ended. Just guess. Guess how that story ended. You see my life savings I carried. I carried my life savings, so you people, and I invested. And while I was reading The Richest Man in Babylon, it was then I knew all by myself, that I had thrown away my hard-earned money. I'd thrown away hours, weeks, and years of work to invest in something that I did not understand. Was that business viable enough to make me money? Yes, it was. But it was high risk at that time. I did not understand the business model and I lost all of my life savings. So you do not want to get to that point where you are learning from your experience. And how exactly can you ensure that you're not learning from your experience? After this conversation, when you are drawing out your financial plan for the year, or when you are drawing out your plans for 2025, you would also have to put in a bucket of education, because that is very important. How do stocks work? How do companies make money? Which of these companies should I buy? You hear examples like, oh, you already use an iPhone, you can invest in Apple. You already use electronics, look for these electronics, look for the ones that have their stocks out there. You can invest in them. Everybody uses Google Chrome. Everybody uses YouTube. Why don't you go and invest in the parent company that handles this very variable and this business that obviously would not run down in the next couple of years, because tech is king. You already know that AI is making a buzz. So those companies that produce chips, those companies that are highly AI led, why not go and invest in those kind of companies? Well, no, it is a good thing to say when you are just seeing it on social media, but it's a wrong thing to practice when your hard-earned money is involved. Why? If you do not understand, when things are going wrong, you might end up withdrawing all of your money unknowingly. You will not know. You just withdraw all of your money. And then that is where you now actually lose the money, right? So you need to understand a couple of these things. There are things that, okay, what are low risk investment? What are high risk investment? I'm just trying to answer off the top of my head, right? So low risk investment are those ones that if you put your money in, the interest rate will not be as high, and then the possibility of you losing your money is reduced. Mind you, there is no risk-free investment. Even the business you are doing, this is not risk-free. Anything can happen. It could be a fire outbreak. It could be that the landlord says you should pack your load and be going. It could be that the goods you imported, something happened to them. It could be anything, right? Business is not risk-free. The 9 to 5 that you're doing is not risk-free, because they can wake up one morning and tell you that your department is no longer needed. They will pack all of you and tell you this is 2 months compensation. Go and find a way out of your go and find a way out around it, right? So you now need to understand, okay, what are the risks involved in me putting my money in this particular thing? Once you're done with that, once you have a grasp of this, you now know that, oh, for stocks, if I invest in individual stocks, it means I'm investing in one company. So anything that happens in that company I get to feel it directly. But no, I want to be in the middle. I want to do something that is medium risk. You can go ahead and get exchange traded funds or index funds. What does this mean? Some people, they are portfolio managers. Their job is to help people to invest money. So what they will do is they'll pick a couple of companies. It could be 10, it could be 50, it could be 1,000, it could be 5,000. And they'll say that, okay, oh, this company, this is their name. They are tracking technology. Oh, they are tracking the top 500 companies in the US. Oh, they are tracking only healthcare sector. And when they gather these companies together, it reduces your risk. And then you are able to fractionally invest or invest wholly in that particular company. And what then happens? If there are dividends available, you get that. If there's a capital gain, you get that. And then for Nigeria that is turning on its own, when the dollar goes up and down, you can also benefit from that as well. So that is one that I've talked about high risk. I did talk as an example. Cryptocurrency is an example as well. Medium risk ETFs, index funds are examples. Mutual funds too are examples of medium risk. Rather, mutual funds will fall into low risk because most of the time they're also coordinated or put together by portfolio managers and fund managers. And these people are trained professionals to ensure that people don't lose their hard-earned money. So these are like very easy ways for you to even start. So where do I start from? I've already told you, understand yourself. I already told you, you need to understand your risk appetite. I already told you need to understand the investment that you're investing in. And then you will not be telling that, you did not tell me how much I need to start though, before I will hear 1 million, before I will hear 500K. You can start investing in the Nigerian stock market with as little as 1,000 naira. You can start investing in mutual funds with as little as 1,000 naira. If you go and meet some brokerages, you even get 5K. It's dependent on you. Oh, I don't want to go through going to somebody's office, sending an email. How exactly do I start my investing journey? There are so many investment platforms that you can use. There's AfriInvest, there's Bamboo, there's Strobe, there's Chaka, there's RiseVest, there's Cowrywise, there's PiggyVest. All of these people make you, or rather expose you to different types of investment at different points in time. So there's Cable. Cable helps you to invest fractionally in real estate. RiseVest has a part where you can invest fractionally in real estate. Fractionally means that you're not buying 100%. You're just buying, if it's 1% your money can reach, you buy the 1%. If it's 10% your money can reach, you buy the 10%. So you're just putting whatever amount of money you have at that particular point in time, right? So, what else? I've talked about risks. I've talked about things that you need to know, and I'm trying to figure if I've missed out anything that I think is very important for you to kickstart your investing journey in the coming year, because it's important. It's very important for you to start investing. Don't wait. See, me as I'm talking to you, I started my investing journey with 5,000 naira, and I built it over time to 8 figures. If you know what 8 figures is, you know that that is a lot of growth, and it did not come one day, right? That growth did not come one day. It came with consistency. It came with always ensuring that I was investing, I was learning, I was checking what was working for me, and then I was repeating the cycle. And you can do it by yourself. You don't necessarily have to get somebody to do it for you. You don't necessarily have to get yourself a portfolio manager. You can learn, and as time goes on, only do things that you understand, right? So I don't know if anybody has any question. I hope that I have been audible, apart from the part I got logged off, and I repeated what I said before I got logged off.
Coincidentally, while she was talking about network threw her off. She's going to join back again. So guys, please, if you have any questions, right, we are going to open up for questions for her, because I know she's like on the move and may have to leave us very soon. So if you have any questions and maybe you want to unmute your mic and speak, that is also fine. So you can use the raise hand feature. I'll call you to speak, or you type your question in the chat. Oluchukwu, are you back? I do have a question to just warm up the room. Let me know if you can.
Oh yeah, I'm back.
Okay,
Just
okay.
when I was about to talk about it, I was about to confirm if people could hear me. I
Yeah,
got
no,
logged off. So I can
interestingly,
hear you, and I'm here.
Okay, interestingly, we actually heard you like throughout, apart from that very first little short glitch. I personally heard everything you said. Amazing. I took notes. I mean, you opened with how investing will make money work for us. Basically, nobody would turn down an opportunity to make money without actually working, right? And you covered a whole lot about risk appetite and the fact that there is no free risk-free investment, right? The higher the risk, the higher the returns. And of course, because when you look at high returns, you don't want to be so excited that, oh, okay, this business that are promising that will make 50%. But that 50%, look at the risk. Oh, the risk is going to be most likely as high as the possible interest that you'll be getting. He also walked us through investment vehicles and asset classes. We talked about stocks, we talked about real estate, commodities, and mutual funds. So my first question, okay, Choma's hand is raised, but I'm going to quickly ask a question. Let's say, okay, I'm just like a 9 to 5er, and what I can afford to keep aside for investing every month is 10,000 naira. What should I do? Like, I mean, you mentioned some apps, some fintech apps, but which one would you say, okay, with this your 10,000 naira? Because I want everybody on this call to go home with one call to action at least. Okay, with this my 10,000 naira or 20,000 naira, what should I do? Which app should I open now? Would you, let's say, recommend I check, go through their investment options and, am I buying mutual funds? What am I doing? Let's say I don't know it. After that, I'll ask I'll unmute Chioma, or she's going to unmute and ask a question. Oluchiki, you have the floor.
Okay, so good thing that I mentioned earlier that you see my investing journey. I started with like when I started again, I started with 5,000 naira,
Yeah.
right? After I threw all my money then. I started with 5K. That's not a lot of money if you look at it. But you can actually start small and then as time goes on, you grow. And then there's this excitement that comes with being able to see that, oh, I left 5K here. I can now put another 5K, 15, 20, and the rest. If you're looking at investing apps that you can start with, you could start with AfriInvest or you could start with Trove, or you can even start with RiseVest. Trove would allow you to, what's it called, invest in Naira stocks, Nigerian Stock Exchange, and then the US Stock Exchange, right? So you can buy international stocks, you can buy local stocks. So let's say you want to buy UBA, you want to buy MTN, all those kind of things, you can buy them on Trove. Let's say you want to buy Apple, you want to buy different type of ETFs, BOO, VGT, you can get them on what's it called, Trove. Then I mentioned AfriInvest. So AfriInvest allows you to also invest in the Nigerian Stock Exchange as well. So the only reason I mentioned AfriInvest is because it's when you're done with your setup, you're able to get your CSCS account, and that's important. Then let's look at RiseVest. Why did I mention RiseVest? RiseVest allows you to invest in stocks that their own portfolio manager has put together. So you're not investing in one stock. You're not going to RiseVest to go and buy Apple. You're not going to RiseVest to go and buy Google. They've already put together their own stock portfolio. So if you're not sure what to do, you can go to RiseVest. They also have something called their real estate. That their real estate. They have properties in the US and they're managing it. So you get to earn returns on that and it's fixed. So you know how much you're going to earn after a period. I think they also have fixed income. That one is like you already know the amount. It's there, right? So these people would allow you to start with 5K. You don't even have to have
Bamboo?
the 10,000. You can, yeah, bamboo. No, bamboo's minimum amount is $20.
Okay.
And that's a lot of money if we convert it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't buy stocks. You can't fund, or rather, you can't buy less than 20. Last time I used them, except now they're more lenient. But last time I checked them out, you can't do less than $20. So there are other people too. Like I mentioned Cable specifically because they do real estate only. So the UK, and I think they also now have their Nigerian real estate. I've not confirmed for the Nigerian, but they do international real estate, fractional real estate investment. Then then you don't have to have a lot of money to start your investing journey. I repeat, you do not have to have a lot of money to start your investing journey. Like I mentioned earlier, number one thing, after you've understood yourself, you understand the investment option that you want to go for, you now need to dedicate an amount of money to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that amount of money, you now invest it consistently. So if you are doing 5K every month, please ensure that you do the 5K every month. If you are doing 10K every month, please ensure that you are doing the 10K every month.
I took note of the apps you listed and shared them in the chat just in case people want to check them out. So I want us to take questions from the audience. Choma's hand has been raised. Choma, please go ahead and ask your question.
Hello, good evening. Please, I don't
Hi.
know whether I'm audible enough.
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Please, there's something I've noticed about personal finance planners or coaches in Nigeria. A lot of the time when investment is being talked about, they talk about investing in index funds or ETFs that are outside Nigeria. Most of the time is even the ones in US. Now I've asked in so many or some platforms, why don't we stress about the ones in Nigeria? Because I know that there are ETFs in Nigeria. I know that there is the Stanbic IBTC 30. I think there's the Meristem 25 or something like that.
Yeah.
There is no stress on these things. I've never heard any personal finance person talk about it. And I've listened to a good number of them because I'm invested in financial education. I don't just want to talk about what I do not know. Now, why am I saying this? One is that we're in Nigeria. I'm not talking of patriotism. We're spending in Naira. Because we're spending in Naira, why is this not talked about? Secondly, the exchange rate is not the difference between the buy and sell. When you buy and sell and something happens and you don't, you want to convert back, you find out you're converting back at a loss. So whatever you're doing when it comes to buying ETFs outside, it has to be long term. And I've come to realize by joining some fintech platforms that a lot of Nigerians are yet to understand that there's a difference between investment and the emergency funds and where they should be kept. So I'm actually, these things bother me because I'm always wondering why, whenever I'm always listening, let me know whether this person will point out that in Nigeria, we have this funds. Can somebody go there? Then, sorry, my final question is on investment people. When they talk about investment, I know that there should be a disclaimer that this is not financial advice, depending on whether the person has some qualifications or not. Now, but if the person has some, the person will always, is one thing I've noticed, they will always gloss over, invest in bonds, treasury bill. The person will not actually put out what he or she does. This was one of the hardest things I had when I started listening to personal finance in Nigeria. Nobody will say, okay, do this first, do that second, do that third. I mean, when it comes to investing, I'm not talking of personal finance generally. In personal finance, you hear people giving you the steps. But in finance, you hear invest in bonds, treasury bills. I'm subscribed to a lot of them. I read them. It's still the same thing. Nobody will say, okay, maybe if you're just like she explained about the risk factors. Nobody will say, please do this or do that. Maybe if you're just starting, do an index fund. If you're going through this, if you're here, do mutual funds.
Okay.
These are my questions. Thank you, please.
Okay, so you've asked two questions. The first one is on really why finance people don't really talk about the local investing options, the ETFs and all. I mean, I know of Meritrade. Meristem has Meritrade. I know of Invest Now, owned by UBA, United Capital. So, Oluchi, could you want to answer that question? And the second one is more on why not? Okay, tell us, invest here, invest there, like literally giving direct financial advice. You want to answer her questions, and I can chip in where possible.
Oh, definitely. I'm happy to answer. So I really love let me start from the second question. So, Gloria, please don't let me forget the first set of questions she asked. Yeah. So,
Okay.
nobody is going to come out and tell you invest here and invest there if it is not a one-on-one session.
Yes, that's true.
This is a general session, and if you remember, I did the 3 categories of risk appetite. So if I tell you go and invest here, and then you as a person, when you're counting your one, you need to put 1.1, 1.2 to 1.10 before getting to 2. And I go and give a general advice, and you take it, and it doesn't work. What then happens? Oh, this person does not know their work, or this person does not know what they are doing. And financial advice is meant to be personal. It's not a general thing. The fundamentals, the knowledge is the basic thing that everybody needs to know. Everybody would definitely come to terms with. But in fact, if you go ahead to take advice generally like this, then I should be worried. Why? It is not even safe. This person doesn't know your numbers. This person doesn't know what your strength. So what if I now say, okay, now everybody here in 2025, you must invest 10,000 naira every month. And you as a person, you can do 1 million every month. Won't I be shortchanging you? And you go ahead and hold on to it. But then I'm sure there will be that caveat of answer. Maybe the person is supposed to have 10 and invest 1 million. But no, some people don't. They want to be handheld. Right? So that is one thing. So if you're saying like direct financial advice without having a conversation, please be wary. I would never do that because I would love to have a conversation with you, understand your goals, understand where you've come from. Even because, like you said, I think you mentioned the point where people used to lose money from exchange rate. Investing in dollars is not for a 1 month or 2 months or 1 year or 3-year thing. It is a long-term commitment. Because before you even start investing at all, I have an investing checklist. But before you even start investing at all, you should have an emergency fund. So your money has to even be intact for you to even know what you are spending on, what you're investing in, whether your income is enough, for you to even be able to build an emergency fund, for you to be able to now move to investing. Right? So moving to the next question, I'm not sure I finished that. I didn't finish, but moving to the next thing I wanted to point out was where you talked about the exchange rate thing. Exchange rate in terms of me buying dollars to invest in foreign investment and then me converting it when I need to convert money. I promise you, I've never converted. Let me see. I'm trying to think if I have converted. Okay, I've only converted my dollars once because I needed to pull out the funds to invest in another business. And I'm like, this fund has been lying idle, so I had to convert that one to invest in another business. I do not convert my money because I know that my personal goals are in dollars. I live in Nigeria for context. I work in Nigeria for context. I earn in Naira for context. But my goals are in dollars. So now if I go and give you general advice now and tell you that you must invest in only ETFs, foreign ETF, you must invest in only foreign stocks, what am I doing to you? I'm stressing you. What if you are somebody that would always be a patriotic and does not want to do that? What if your goals are in Naira and not in dollars like mine? Do you see where I'm coming from? So the exchange rate thing, even if we take that out, let's say you want to invest in only Naira stocks, you're still going to pay some fees, some maintenance fees, some transaction fees as well. So that's another fee that unfortunately from our climb here, we have to deal with, we have to live with. And especially because a lot of people are now tilting to foreign investment rather than just local investment. And then for the ETFs that you mentioned, yes, there are ETFs that are in Naira. There are mutual funds that are in Naira. There are different investments that are in Naira. But for this conversation, there was no need to expand on that. Reason why we're just doing the basics and the important part to not do in the right direction that there is light, please, you on your touch as you wrote, right? So I hope I think I didn't answer one of the questions. I'm
I
very
think
sure I've
you
forgotten one
actually
of them.
answered. No, you actually answered the two questions. You answered the first last, and I would like to just add to the things you said. So Chioma, the second question, which was more on why do finance people not recommend or say do this, do that. So basically, what she said is 100%. I agree with it 100% because you do not want to come up on a public platform and tell people invest here, invest there, invest there. If you follow my content for a while, like what Oluchiku did was that she actually mentioned a number of platforms where we can invest, and I typed them in the chat. And these are platforms I know that she uses. I know her personally. And for me, when I'm talking about like in the checklist I'm going to share, that document I was using, I listed examples like Cowrywise, PiggyVest, just for regular, maybe like PiggyVest for regular, let's say savings, right? Where you would get at least 12% annual interest. Let's say for maybe you want to save up your emergency fund, you don't want to keep it in your bank account where there will be no interest coming in. You keep it in a place where you can easily access the money. So we like to share what we are doing, not just general. So we are not saying, oh, this is investment advice. We are saying, okay, we've used RiceVest. She has used AfriVest. I use Bamboo. So you can check it out for yourself. And most of these platforms are not even most, they're all should I say, they have a very intuitive user interface. And if you have detailed, maybe deeper questions, it's either you would have to get financial, consultation one-on-one with people like Oluchiku, or you reach out to the customer service of Bamboo. Because what I did personally was just download the app and looks through when Access Bank was selling shares. I mean, those are local shares, GTB and the likes. I just checked, okay, let me buy this one with this little amount of money. It's really straightforward, like they've really broken it down. So the best we can really honestly do, right, is to point you to some of these apps that we've used that I can say, okay, for instance, I've mentioned Invest Now app by United Capital Asset Management. Their MD is a CFA charter holder, right? So I wouldn't just mention random names, for instance, if I have not tried, even if I know of, I would most likely not mention if I've not used it on a personal level. But then I'm not going to say, oh, I'm doing this, so do this. I could just mention the names of the platforms, like Mary Trade. I know Mary Stem has Mary Trade. I have a Mary Trade account. It's an app. You just download it and you try to buy shares, or just you would be. It's easy to go through the platforms and understand what to do with it, right? So we try to be on the safe side. We can't just give general advice like that. So I think that's what a lot of people do. Then your first question about um finance people talking a lot more about foreign international ETFs and all. Like I share the same sentiment with Oluchiku. Personally, like our own family finance goals. Yes, we have naira denominated investments, right? Like we've bought mutual funds from Stanbic actually. Stanbic is like one of the biggest, so it's quite a bank you can trust that okay, you not wake up and tomorrow they've collapsed. So we have mutual funds with Stanbic IBTC, for instance, and I think we've done something similar with GTB. But the option we would rather diversify in a way that with how weak the naira is, we want to make sure that even if we are earning in naira, that we are buying dollars so that we can store, like our money will not lose value as quick as the local naira will lose value. So it depends on your personal financial goals, right? There are people that would rather honestly spend money buying the dollars, irrespective of how it fluctuates, irrespective of the exchange rate. And then there are people that would want to invest in local opportunities, local naira denominated ETFs or in mutual funds and things. So, and I think we've actually mentioned a number of them that are both local and foreign. So I don't know if we have. Oh, thank you, Choma. Okay, do we have any more? So there is less on your question. Do you have any more questions? I know it's 6:30. We are rounding off. This is just the last segment, Q&A. Thank you so much, Oluchuku.